Hi everybody, this is Algebra 1, Lesson 19, and this lesson covers exponents, powers of negative numbers, roots, and evaluation of powers. Alright, so exponents. Exponents mean repeated multiplication. Just the way multiplication means repeated addition, an exponent means repeated multiplication. So for A, we have 3 squared. That really means 3 times 3, because I have it 2 times. Okay, so that's my exponent. And 3 is my base. And your exponent tells me how many times to multiply my base. So 3 times 3 is 9. So 3 squared is 9. B is 3 to the third. So that means I'm going to multiply it 3, my base, 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. All right, next one is 3 to the fourth. So that means I have to take my base, 3, and multiply it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 times 3 is 9 right there. And then if I did 9 times 9, I would get 81 as my answer for that one. I did it that way because it was easier, the multiplication, but you can do it any way you want. You could say 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27, and then do 27 times 3 equals 81. But it was easier for me to think 3 times 3 is 9 twice, and then 9 times 9 is 81. All right, D is our last one, and it's negative 3 to the fourth. Now, we have to be careful with these. This means the opposite of 3 to the fourth, right? So first I'm going to do 3 to the fourth. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, which I know from this problem back here is 81. Then I'm going to put my negative on there, right? Because 3 to the fourth is 81, and now I just need the negative of 3 to the fourth, which would be negative 81. If your number is in parentheses, that means that the negative is going to be part of what you're squaring. So instead of saying 3 times 3, I need the negative of 3 times 3. This means I need the square of negative 3 times negative 3. So that means I got 2 negative 3's right here. Okay, so if it's inside parentheses, you have to include it. 3 times 3 is 9, and a negative times a negative makes a positive. So this one is positive 9. Next one, I'm going to have negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. My base is negative 3. My exponent is 3. That means I multiplied it 3 times. 2 of these negatives will cancel, but we're going to end up with a negative number. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So that one came out negative. Next one, negative 3 to the fourth. So I've got 1, 2, why did I write a 2? Because I was saying 2. 2, 3, 4 times, right? Because my exponent's 4, my base is negative 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. Remember that was 9, and then those two were 9, and then 9 times 9 is 81. Now, is this negative or positive? I can cancel here, and I can cancel here. So it is positive. Okay, now this one tells me I need the negative of, see how the negative's on the outside, of negative 3 to the fourth. So I'm going to take my negative 3 to the fourth. Right? And then I'm going to find the negative of that. So those cancel and those cancel. I don't have any negative to bring over, but this negative on the outside, I have to use it. So that one would be negative 81. All right, this asks us to simplify. So remember, you don't include the negative when you're working out your exponent if it's not in parentheses. So this negative, I'm just going to go ahead and bring it down. And then 3 to the third would be 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, so that's this part. Minus, this is negative 3 squared. So negative 3 times negative 3, that would be a positive. 3 times 3 is 9. Now, that was a positive 9 in here, right? But I still have this negative right here, so we can't forget about that. So it's still negative. All right, plus negative 2 squared. So I'm going to do plus, and then negative 2 squared right here means that I have negative 2 times negative 2, and those would cancel, and I would get 2 times 2 is positive 4. Now I'm just going to put all those together. So I'm going to have negative 27 and negative 9, which would be negative 36. And then positive 4 would be negative 32. Let's see, that's 19.3. Let me double check that. Yep. All right, let's try this next one. All right, so this is negative 2, the negative of 2 squared. So we're going to do the negative, and then 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, this next one means 4 times negative 3 to the third. So negative 3 to the third would be negative 3, negative 3, negative 3. Those will cancel, but we'd still have one negative left. 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27. So this whole part right here is going to be 27. So we've got negative 4 times 27. Oh, negative 27. All right, and then we're going to have to multiply here. So negative 2 times a negative 2 squared. So negative 2 times negative 2, see, it's going to be this part, right? And that's going to be positive 4. So all this is positive 4. So we're going to have negative 2 times 4. And then I'm just going to tack on that minus 2 right there. Now I need to do my multiplication first. So 4 times 27, negative 2 times 4. So I'm not doing anything to this negative 4 yet. I'm just going to bring it down. Now I'm going to multiply here. I'm going to do negative 4 times negative 27. These two are going to cancel each other. I'm going to end up with positive. And now I need 27 times 4. 7 times 4 is 28. 4 times 2 is 8. 9, 10, 108. Okay, and then 2 times 4, that's a negative times a positive, so it'll be negative. And then 2 times 4 is 8. And then minus 2. So we got 108 minus 8, which would be 100. And minus 2 and minus 4 would be minus 6. It's going to be 94. Yep, 94. So just take it one step at a time and be careful wherever the parentheses are touching the other number, right? Like here. See? We need to multiply. So sometimes it's helpful for students to go in and put an arrow in between those two numbers that you're going to multiply. Mark all that multiplication. So it's going to be right there and right there that they're touching. So you're going to multiply. After you do your exponents. Exponents first, then multiply. All right. Square roots. So if we wanted to do the opposite of squaring something, we do what's called the square root. So if I said 3 squared equals 3 times 3, which equals 9. The opposite of that, to go backwards, would be what is the square root of 9, right? And this little symbol right here is called a radical sign. The square root of 9, that means what number times itself makes 9, and that's going to be 3. We can also do it with higher powers. So let's say that we had 2 to the third. That means 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, what's the third root of 8? That means a number times itself. 1, 2, 3 times equals 8, and that's going to be 2. Now, I suggest that when you're trying to figure out like a third root or a fourth root, start with 2 and move up from there. So if 2 isn't the answer, then move up to 3. And if 3 isn't the answer, move up to 4. Usually it doesn't take you long to get to it. They usually only go up to like 3s and 4s. All right, so the square root of 64 means what number times itself makes 64? And that would be 8. 8 times 8 is 64. This one wants the fourth root of 16. So that means I need a number that when I multiply 1, 2, 3, 4 times the same number, I get 16. Let's say we did 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. So that is correct. So this one is 2. The third root of negative 27. So I need a number when I multiply it 3 times. I'm going to get negative 27. Well, I know that'll have to be a negative number, right? Because if I cancel these, I'll still have one negative left. And to get my negative 27. And if we tried 2, remember I said always try 2 first, negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. We know that 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8, so it's not 2. We'll try the next number, which is 3. Negative 3, negative 3, negative 3. These cancel. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27, and the negative 27. So that means the answer to this is negative 3. Alright, and I think I'm missing the little number that's supposed to go on there. Where was it? Alright, that was supposed to be the 4th root? No, just negative 81. What's the square root of negative 81? Alright, so this one, see how the negative is outside the radical? That means we're just going to put a negative before we put our answer. So it means the opposite of whatever the square root of 81 is, which is 9. 9 times 9 is 81. So that would be negative 9. Easy peasy. If it's inside the radical box, then you'll have to include it when you're trying to figure out what your root is. But if it's outside, you just tack it on after you figure it out. Alright, now what if we're evaluating using powers? Evaluating, remember, that means replacing our variable with a value. So if a equals negative 2, right, and we need a squared, so that means we're going to have negative 2 times negative 2, right? And that would be 4. Alright, this one wants negative a squared. So we're going to first need to figure out what a squared is, which we just figured that out, that's 4. So this one would equal negative 4, right? Because it's the opposite of a squared. Alright, negative a to the third. So we need a to the third first. That's a times a times a, right? Which would be negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Those are going to cancel. We're going to get negative 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Negative 8 is our a to the third, right? It's negative 8. But we still have this other negative sign, so we need negative 8. And that really is just positive 8. Okay? Because it really means the opposite of negative 8. The negative of a to the third, or the opposite of a to the third. If a to the third is negative 8, then the opposite of that would be positive 8. Alright, this one has our negative a to the third. That means we need negative a times negative a times negative a. If a is negative 2, then we would need negative 2 times negative 2, negative 2. And these are all going to cancel each other. Or what is it? We need the opposite of a to the third. If a is 2, the opposite of that would be positive 2. Okay, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So that one equals positive 8. Alright, let me double check those, make sure I did them right. Okay, so I should have 4, negative 4, an 8, and an 8. Yes, okay. Alright, let's try another evaluation problem. Okay, so this one has a bunch of variables in it, and they're all going to be replaced with a different number. So x is going to be 2, z is 3, y is negative 2. So I need x squared, right? So that's 2 squared, which will be 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite it here. Times z to the third times y. Now remember, whatever this is, we're going to multiply it times this times that, right? Because there's no signs, no plus or minus signs in between those variables. So that means we're going to be multiplying all three of these values together. Our first value is x squared, which is 4. Our next value would be z to the third, if z is 3. So that means z times z times z, right? And z is 3, so that's 3 to the third, which would be 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So z to the third would be 27. But remember, I'm going to have to multiply them, so I'm going to keep these in parentheses. And then our last one will be y, which is negative 2. And it's not raised to a power, so we're just going to write negative 2. Now we just have to multiply these together. So 4 times 27 times 4 is 28. 4 times 2 is 8, 9, 10, 108. Right there. And then I need that times negative 2, which would be negative 216. Yep, negative 216. That's the correct answer. All right, let's try that here. So this one, we've got two different terms. Okay, we'll start with the pm squared. So I need p, which is, I need pm squared. My p, and I'm going to multiply right here. So first I'm going to do my exponent on my m, then I'm going to multiply. So p is 1 times m, which is negative 4 squared. So that means I need negative 4 times negative 4. And that would be positive 16. And then positive 16 times 1 would just be 16. So my first part is 16. Then I have negative z to the third. That means I need the negative of z to the third. Z is negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Okay? These cancel, and I'm going to get 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. And that will be negative 8, and then this negative over here, so it'll be negative 8. So it would really be positive 8. And then 6 and 8 is 13. Let's see, 6 and 8 is 14, so 24. Yep, 24 is the answer to that one. Okay, so you got to be careful. Like on this one, if I have negative z to the third, first I figure out z to the third, which will be negative 2 to the third, which would be negative 8, right? So all this is negative 8, then these two negatives cancel and it turns into plus 8. Alright, go ahead and pause the video and work those practice problems. Alright, so hopefully you pause that to work these. Most of these are pretty simple. First one is negative 2 squared, and my negative 2 is in parentheses, so that means we're going to have negative 2 times negative 2, which would be positive 4. Alright, B, this one, I don't have the negative included in parentheses, so this is going to be the negative of 2 times 2, right? 2 times 2 is 4. This one's going to be negative 4. Alright, C, first we'll figure out 3 to the third, which will be 27. So we have negative 27, right? Because we did 3 times 3 times 3, which would be 9. 9 times 3 is 27. And then don't forget about that negative right there. Okay, down now here, I need negative 2 squared. So that's negative 2 times negative 2, which would be positive 4. So all of this part is 4. Then I have this negative right here I can't forget about. Okay, and then right here, 2 squared, 2 times 2 is 4, so that would be minus 4. Alright, so now I just got to put that together. Okay, and I'm just adding all these up because they're all negative, so 27, that would be 31, 35. So negative 35 on C. Now I need the third root of negative 64, so I need a number when I multiply it 3 times, I get negative 64, right? Feeling like it's 8, no, maybe 4. We'll try 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4, 6 times 4 is 24. 4 times 1 is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nope, that's not it. Let's see. 8 times 8 is 64. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4. It is 60. It is 4. Okay, so that means we've got 4 times 4 times 4, right? And if it's negative, 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 two negatives cancel each other, we're going to end up with negative 64. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. So the answer to that one is -4. That's the only number that I could do. -4 times -4 times -4 and come up with 64. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. Negative, negative. 1 negative left. Okay, this next one I've got 3 to the third, and that's -3. So I'm going to do -3 times -3 times -3. These two will cancel. I'm going to end up with a negative number. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, and then this, it says that it's looking for the third root of 27, right? So that would be -3. And so the answer to that one is -30. All right, and then just one more left. Okay, so this one I'm just going to bring my negative sign down, and then 3 squared, 3 times 3 is 9. Third root of -8, so that's going to be minus. That's that minus sign right there. And then 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. It's 2. And it would be -2. Now, you see how these two negatives right here? That's because this whole part right here makes -2, but I already had that negative right there. So negative times negative makes a positive, so that really becomes +2. So -9, +2. And then the square root of 16 is 8, because 8 times 8 is 16, so -8. So that would be 8 and 8 is 16, 17, +2, that would be -15. Maybe. Where's this F? I think I did it wrong. Let me try it again. Right. Exponents, then those. So 3 times 3 is 9, and then the third root of -8, which would be -2 times -2 is -2. Those will cancel. We get 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, -8, yep, so it's -2 right there. All of that, so -2. And then this would be, oh no, I did that wrong. Okay, I see what I did. That negative's on the outside. No, there's one on the inside. So that turns that into +2 minus square root of 16, which would be 8. So that means I'm going to have -9, -8, which would be 8 and 8 is 16, -17, plus 2, which would equal -15. And let me double check that answer real quick, which was this, 19. And remember, the answers to the practice problems are in the back of the book, so you should always try to work these. This is F. That says -11. It's good for me to make mistakes sometimes, because then we can see what we did wrong. Okay, -3 squared, 3 times 3 is 9. Did I write the problem correctly? -3 squared, yes. Minus the third root of -8 minus the square root of 16. 2 times 2 times 2. If it was -2 times -2 times -2, it would be -2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. Yep, so that means this has to be, this whole part right here is -2. This right there is negative 9. And then that would be 8. Ah, they're all, no, because then those cancel. Which would be negative 7, negative 8. I think my answer key's wrong because that definitely looks like negative 15. If you got negative 15 or if you got negative 11, take it, whatever. Alright, let's work the next one. Alright, x squared if x is negative 3. So I'm going to be multiplying all three of these together. Okay, so I have a value for x squared, which means x times x, and x is negative 3, so I need negative 3 times negative 3, which is going to be positive 9. So my x value is 9. Then I'm going to multiply that times my z value, which is z to the third. So that means I'm going to have z, which is negative 2, 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Those cancel. I'm going to end up with 2 right there. Negative 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Negative 8 is my z to the third. And then y is just negative 2. Okay, and then, so that means I'm going to do 9 times 8 is 72. And then I have to do that times 2, which would be 144. And those cancel each other. So it should be positive 144. Yes. Then this one has b squared, and b is negative 4. So if I need b squared, that means I need negative 4 squared. Right? And that's in parentheses. So that means I need negative 4 times negative 4, which would be 16. So my b squared right here is 16. Alright, then I'm going to multiply here and here before I add these together. So minus 4 times a is negative 3, times c, which is negative 5. So I have to multiply right here because I've got multiplication between my 4 and my a and my c. So I can cancel out these two and say 3 times 5 is 15. And now I need 15 times 4, which 2 15s is 30, so 4 15s will be 60. So 16 minus 60, which would be negative 44. So negative 44 is the answer to that one. Alright, sorry that video was so long. Hope everything made sense, and thanks for watching.